We'll go ahead and get started with the first live SpaceVidcast.com vidcast. A little bit redundant, but still a lot of fun. This particular show, we're not going to be doing a lot of fancy, cool things. We'll have the graphics at the bottom, and you can actually participate live, and you can leave your comments, and I'll interact with you, and that's how we're going to do it week after week. We're going to start doing these Thursday nights, most likely at around 7 o'clock p.m. Central Daylight Time. If you'd like to know when these SpaceVidcasts are going to be occurring, sign up to our Twitter account at twitter.com/SpaceVidcast, and we'll send out announcements as to when these are going. But I'm pretty much set on Thursday nights. And I wanted to use this particular show to answer all the questions that are going to happen in future shows. Because anytime I do a live podcast, someone comes back and says, what are you using? Who are you? Why are you here? How do you make the graphics go? What's the meaning of this? And then some of them just say silly things like boobies, boobies, boobies 5 times in a row, and then we kick them. So I wanted to answer those questions up front. That way the regulars are in the room. When the new guys come, instead of just getting all pissed off at them, you can point them to this video and they can get the information that they're looking for very quickly and easily. So I want to first start out with our mission and why I'm here. We just got done streaming the STS-123 mission, Space Shuttle Endeavour. And that was a lot of fun. We started right from launch, and we did a co-hosted launch event where I was kind of doing the commentary. Had a lot of people in the room. It was a smashing success. Way more people than I ever imagined would show up for a show with absolutely no advertising. We streamed all the way through, and just recently, right before the recording of this show, Endeavour just landed safely back at the Kennedy Space Center, and it was a lot of fun throughout the whole thing. And part of what made it fun is, unlike the regular regular NASA TV channel where it's just them sitting there for hours on end, hardly saying anything, and then showing replays, we actually have the chat room at the bottom, and we'd have new users come in saying, what is this? Is this live? What does this mean? Why do I care? And to answer those questions, yes, what we do live stuff. So when we do an STS mission, it's all live. We're just rebroadcasting NASA TV. And the reason we're doing that is for those newbies, for those people who maybe are kind of interested in space travel, but really don't know where to start, or just kind of, browsing the web, just kind of maybe the techies, but never really got into space travel and just wanted to get more information. So they're going to ask a lot of basic questions. What is two-engine TAL mean? What do all those different NASA acronyms mean? And I felt it was my job and those job of the NASA-ites and the people who really understand this stuff in the chat room to very courteously and correctly answer those questions for them so they could be educated without feeling stupid. And that's kind of the atmosphere that I want to set up for this, is that there are no dumb questions. It doesn't matter if they ask the same question 5 times in a row. Well, as long as it's different people asking the same question 5 times in a row. As long as they're legitimately interested in finding the information, I want to help them get that information. And the reason I want to help them is I believe space flight and space travel is absolutely the most critical things that humans have done. It is the future of humanity. And I realize that sounds cheesy. I'm waiting for some of the room to start. Actually, Starbucks agrees. But I'm waiting for some of the room to start disagreeing and saying, yeah, it's a little bit cheesy. But it absolutely is. And a lot of people all over the world right now kind of walk around like this, saying we have these issues. We can't feed the world population. We've got a war in Iraq if you're in the US. We've got all these issues at home. Why would I deal with space travel? Well, because you can't just live your life with blinders on. The future of the human race must absolutely must be in the stars for the single reason that we have no redundancy on our planet. A single catastrophic event, just a giant meteor hitting the planet, a super volcano going off on the planet. I can keep going off and listing disasters. If the planet actually stopped spinning, just like suddenly went like this and stopped, but the atmosphere kept going, that would basically whip around with winds going something like 14,000 miles an hour around the Earth, and basically would whip mountains out and essentially devastate all life on Earth. That's kind of another really cool way to go. Yeah, I know, no kidding, geez, exactly. So these are reasons we need to populate other planets. And you can't just start going out and saying, okay, let's go populate a planet now. We have to figure out the effects of the human body in space. That's why we have the International Space Station. We have to figure out how we're going to build bases on hostile environments, such as the moon, and then move on to Mars. And NASA is the world leader in doing this. But I'm not just talking about NASA in these video casts. Absolutely not. They are one avenue, and they're a very good avenue, and they should get our money and our support. Now, there's some things that I don't agree with, but they are critically, I don't know what words I want to choose there. They are critical to the evolution of humans as we know it. And so while we have wars, we absolutely have problems. The U.S. has problems with the dollar, but you know what? Cutting back on space travel, cutting back on space flight, and going around like this saying we have to look at our problems at home, that won't help us. In the end, in the long run, that only stands to hurt us. And that's why we're here. We're here to educate people and let them know that the cost isn't really that great versus the cost of doing nothing. And that's what I want to convey to people who aren't necessarily space geeks. And this all started way back in the technology evangelist days when I was doing podcasts there, and I had a bunch of people, we'd get into NASA conversations and they'd say, well, they're stupid, they're a giant waste of money, I don't want to give them my tax dollars. So that's one avenue. Then we've got other avenues with the Google X Prize. We've got Virgin Galactic. We've got privatized space travel that's starting to flourish. In your lifetime, dare I say, possibly before the year 2010, you might have the ability to go into space. You, Joe Average-ish consumer. We'll call it average upper-class consumer. How about that? Because it's going to be very expensive. So you can actually go into space. This won't be something for an elite few people. You'll be able to experience that. You'll be able to see our planet from many miles up. You'll be able to experience zero gravity. This will touch you directly. Now, while it will be expensive at first, that price will drive down over time. It always does. And that's going to be some exciting stuff, and we're going to cover that in next week's podcast. And, you know, as Starbucks is saying right now, her husband's in the army, we can't afford it. But, you know, I have no doubt that soon it will be just as inexpensive as traditional air flight is today. You know, we had the same problem. Look at the way the airlines work. They used to be for the elite few in the beginning. Now you can get $100 tickets on a discount carrier. You'll be able to do the same thing with space travel, and you'll be able to do it in your lifetime. Mark my words, that will happen in your lifetime. So this will start to become more and more interesting to people, and we want to be a leader in this space. We want to educate people as to the risks in doing this, what the rewards will be, and why we need to absolutely do this. This isn't a want, we need to do this. So that's why we're here. That's what we're going to do. Now let me answer some of the questions that are going to get asked in every single show. You guys ready for this? These are the questions. All right. What am I using to build the graphics at the bottom? You know you're all asking it. Can anyone in the chat room answer it for me? There's only one answer. There's only one program that does all this cool kick butt stuff. That's right, Fox814. It's CamTwist. No, they don't make a version for PC. No, I don't know what you should use for PC. If you want to do this, you got to buy a Mac. End of story. I don't care if you don't have a Mac. That's your problem. All right. So that's what we use. CamTwist 1.7. There you go. When do we do this? We're going to be doing this Thursday nights. Why are we here? We've already answered that. What other questions that I might be missing that were asked throughout the week? Starbucks, if you could help me out a little bit, that'd be really great. Yeah, exactly. They're saying I'm brought to you by Apple, Dell, and I've got a couple of huge Dell monitors directly to my left, and I've got an HVX 200 sitting in front of me. I do use studio lighting in front of me here. Right now I'm at the office for this particular show. However, I'm in the process of building a home studio. I've got a couple $1,000s in sound foam that's going up on the walls. It's not quite ready yet. I'm also going to be using Logitech QuickCam Ultra cameras. They look something like this. So this will be the primary video source for those shows, and I can switch between those cameras. So that's kind of what we'll be using for all of that. The microphone I'll be using is a KSM 44 by Shure, and the audio board I'll be using is a Project Mix IO, which is automated and linked directly into the Macintosh. So, yeah, brought to you by the Hansel Foundation, and for all of you geeks out there, here is my Dharma bottle. Check that out. And if you've ever noticed any of the videos I've done for like on the CamTwist documentation, you'll sometimes see these bottles sitting in the background. So there's a little bit of an Easter egg for you. Watch for the Dharma bottles. Or sometimes I'll have Brain Tonic cans sitting in the background for no reason whatsoever. So there's Brain Tonic can. If you want to know what that is, email me. My email address is benjamin@spacevidcast.com. Yeah, you're trying to take notes. Excuse me. Asking if there's life on Mars, WR80JC. I have absolutely no idea if there's life on Mars or if there was life on Mars. We'll be starting another show, a conspiracy show, and that almost seems like something more for a conspiracy show. There may have been at one time non-intelligent life on Mars, but that's still kind of undecided. I don't think we've really seen conclusive evidence in either direction. The big question, the big one up in the air right now is Pluto. Now in 2015, we're going to have one of our satellites finally make it to Pluto. Whether it's a planet or a dwarf planet or whatever you want to call it, that is an interesting spatial body out there because it possibly has liquid water under the surface. So we could do, there might be some pretty cool things happening in Pluto and then beyond Pluto. So Pluto may be the answer to how